Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Hedera and HBAR. So with that being said, let's just dive in. And I do want to talk real quick about the transactions. So one thing that I would love to note about these transactions is the fact that it solidifies the fact that Hedera can handle the scalability needed from institutions, major financial use cases, you name it. As we look at what's happening right now around the world, we are seeing major tests happening. We are also seeing confirmation that, hey, listen, the big banks, these major, global payment organizations, they are ready for crypto. July 6th, big banks, New York Fed's Innovation Group, see merit in digital ledgers for global payments. We know that this is becoming a big talking point. I've been sharing my thoughts on this for a while on this channel. The biggest problem around the retail sector is that we will have individuals that want to listen, but then there's that large portion of the retail sector that just don't care, right? They want to go and scroll through TikTok, or they want to go and find the next big thing that's, trending, and they want to see what the news media is saying. Most of the retail sector is blinded by distractions. If you are here, if you are listening to what's happening around crypto, and you're focused on the overall innovation happening, then I applaud you, right? Because everyone is always focused on just one thing within crypto, which is, hey, is the price going up yet? The big thing that I'm focused on is the change happening globally around crypto and this type of technology. We are seeing one of the biggest innovations of our global financial system that we've ever seen in history. And this is one of the biggest tech booms that we will also see as well. This is going to be much larger than the internet. It's going to be much larger than any technological revolution that happened, previously and even after the internet as well. I believe that we are on a historical journey here to have crypto integrated within the global financial system. Now, the reason why I think that Hedera is perfectly positioned as a leader around this as well, similar to you go and look at XRP with Ripple, or you look at XLM with Stellar, is because of the connections Hedera already has with some very large names. For an example, right? We've talked about FIS in the past. Like, FIS is a massive giant, especially in terms of the financial world. Eftpos as well. Like, Eftpos is huge in Australia. I've talked about it many times on this channel. But then you also have major giants on here like DBS, or, for example, Shinhan Bank or Standard Bank. These are leaders around the financial world. And it's interesting. It's definitely interesting when you combine this with the fact that we already know the network is handling massive scale, right? We're doing about almost 1,500 transactions per second right now. We already maxed out this year at around like 10,000. I think it was like 10,800 transactions or something like that. Absolutely wild. Now, as we look at a few of these giants, like Eftpos for an example, right? Look at some of the partnerships that Eftpos has. Like, these are huge names. By the way, you have WorldPay by FIS. Yeah, also have PayPal here, Westpac, ING, Citi, Commonwealth Bank. These are huge names. Huge names. And the craziest thing is that these are, like I said, domino effects, which is when we have a partnership like this with Hedera, it can blossom into other ones. We already know that ANZ is actually working with Hedera closely, especially around stablecoins and stablecoin issuance and things like that. And then also outside of this, like, if we look at this company itself, they're accepted at nearly 1 million terminals, over 50 million cards in market, and over 2 billion transactions a year. Okay? This is a giant in Australia. Like I said, I talked about it many times in the past. And when you go over here to look at the use cases that they are focused on, here you guys have the announcement: Australia's national debit operator Eftpos joins Hedera Governing Council and will run Aussie Hedera Network Node. This was January of 2021. Now, if we scroll down and we actually look at what they're focused on, they also do mention, for an example, in a world of fast-paced technology change, low-cost micropayments to pay for internet content, or tiny payments for device-to-device transactions. The Eftpos digital strategy was devised with an Australian focus, creating world-class innovations to compete with global payments players. The digital strategy has 5 key elements: mobile wallets, including Beemit, e-commerce, digital identity using Connect ID, fintech ecosystem access, and national QR code payments rollout. This is on par with what we've been noticing in terms of the major shift happening around crypto and also even around finance, which is the digital revolution. Okay, and it's kind of comical, right? Because now today, with everything that we know, and going back to this article, we do see by combining the new Eftpos API infrastructure with a consumer wallet-based experience, digital identity, and an AUD-based stablecoin using Hedera's super fast, secure, and low-cost distributed network, the POC's objective was demonstrably achieved. Use cases like this simply are not possible on other public blockchains. Along with several partners, we are now exploring a variety of use cases that this combination of technologies enables and options to commercialize them. Again, as we look at what Hedera has done and achieved, I don't think a lot of people focus on this. And like I said, this is a huge partnership. This is a massive partnership, and it's still one that I look at today and I'm just like, a lot of people forget about these connections to Hedera. And I also said it in the past, right? Like, Hedera doesn't have a lot of these flashy partnerships where, they're talking about, financial use cases and things like that. I mean, they do, but they don't really talk about them. For an example, recently we've been really kind of talking about transactions and we're talking about Web3 and stuff like that. And a lot of this stuff is kind of more so in the future. But these use cases here and these partnerships here, these are here, right? They are here to stay. They are huge ones. And it's really kind of showing us the true potential of Hedera, especially in the financial world. Now, this is one of many. I talked to you guys a little bit about Standard Bank in the past. They are doing about roughly $74 billion they have about $74 billion in assets under management globally, 20 current in-country operations in sub-Saharan Africa, over 15 million active clients, and 160 years serving clients in Africa. This is Africa's largest bank, and they are working closely with Hedera as well. Again, one of the most overlooked GC members of Hedera. And remember, going all the way back to February of 2021, the same year, and within it's 1 month later from the Eftpos announcement, Standard Bank Group establishes Africa's first Hedera network node to enable much needed digitization of cross-border trade processes. And remember, like, a lot of this stuff takes time to truly go fully live and be built out. But this is something that I've been focused on. These huge financial use cases. And we do see Standard Bank Group has been a pioneer in leveraging blockchain and DLT to bring speed and transparency to its large and growing customer base across Africa. It has leveraged this technology for several use cases, including foreign exchange, which, by the way, the FX market, for an example, is about $7.7 trillion per day, I believe. And this is around FX payments and settlement across partner banks, clients, and counterparties involved in trades. And again, when we really kind of look at their objectives here and their goals, they're talking about CBDCs, they're talking about tokenization of assets, they're talking about utilization of stablecoins. All of this, right? They're increasing the idea of digitization and they're embracing it, but they won't achieve it unless they utilize technology that can handle these use cases and handle the scale in an efficient manner. And I do think that it is perfect for them to choose Hedera for this, because Hedera has been perfectly built out for this. It's been designed for this. This is the 3rd generation technology around crypto. And then also a few other things that a lot of people don't realize is going back in time a little bit to this decoding CBDC report. We do see a practical guide to a CBDC design and implementation. Look at who's on this. Ripple with Hedera, and of course Prosper US. Now, the interesting thing about this is that as we do scroll down, we do see the Ripple breakdown around CBDCs and stuff like that. But here we have Hedera. Building the future of CBDCs, the Hedera Network Enterprise Advantage: performance, high availability, eco-friendly, predictable, low TCO, rapid development, ecosystem compatibility, and platform trust. Now, within this, there's a few other things that they do mention. For example, I could just show you guys. So here's transaction network / infrastructures. So this refers to the specific infrastructure or network that is used for the core CBDC ledger. Although the core ledger need not to be DLT based, much of the CBDC exploration globally have involved the use of DLT based networks. Examples including the Algorand network, Ethereum, Hedera Hashgraph, Hyperledger Basu, Fabric, and Iora. R3's core platform, GroundX's Clayton, Prosper Ledger, Ripple CBDC Private Ledger, and the Stellar Network. But they do mention Hedera quite a bit, even down here in terms of comparing DLT-based infrastructures in a CBDC context. Last but not least, there's a few other ones down here in terms of the comparison chart. This is Algorand versus Hedera versus Hyperledger Fabric, Corda, Ripple, and even Stellar. And you can see the differences in terms of scalability, access, the type of infrastructure, the unique selling proposition, and notable partnerships as well. And then down here, they do also mention the Mtech CBDC infrastructure. This is built out on Hedera, which is, again, something that I've been focused on with Hedera in terms of Mtech and what they've been doing. And then just down here, they do conclude this. But it's interesting, right? Because most people don't believe that Hedera is even working on CBDCs if you haven't done your research, right? But I've been hyper focused on the idea of CBDCs because they are happening, they're coming. 90% of nations are pushing for CBDC. The biggest thing that I notice around CBDCs is that the underlying technology needs to be extremely efficient and secure and have trust built within it. Hedera is providing a lot of that. I also think that the major partners on this, the only 3 partners on this, are the key players within this. But I've also talked about a few other players around the CBDC space. A lot of nations and a lot of those big organizations like the BIS, the IMF, and a few other ones are really presenting this opportunity of a lifetime if you read within it and you actually do your research. And they're talking about DLT, they're talking about blockchain being a crucial piece of the digitization process. So again, focus on that heavily. And recently, going all the way back to September of last year, we do see we are proud to support Mtech on its new green CBDC framework with Hedera. There is no more secure, high performance, and energy efficient networks on which central banks can unlock the true value of sustainable CBDCs. And again, sustainability, whether or not you want to get behind that agenda, trust me, I get it's a touchy subject, but we do know that a lot of these major elite organizations, they want sustainability, especially around CBDCs. So who do you think that they're going to choose, right? They're going to choose the most sustainable network out there to utilize for CBDCs. Hedera could very well be that, that network because of how sustainable it is and how efficient it is around payments and payment technology. Hedera was designed for a lot of this. And what's crazy about this is that if we go over to Mtech, we do see 100 plus countries exploring CBDCs, $1 quadrillion of global currencies and derivatives, 2 billion unbanked people worldwide. And we do see down here, through the Hedera Public Network, Mtech is helping central banks safely engage their ecosystem in a way that will drive financial literacy, trust, and capacity building. Hedera's DLT is rooted in the ability to deliver highly scalable, low-cost, and completely transparent transactions, which are critical to gaining the trust of the unbanked. And they do talk a little bit more about Mtech in terms of Hedera, a financial app serving the unbanked through low transaction cost, total transparency, and trust. This is all through the Hedera API to connect to their platform, to the public ledger, enabling ease of integration with complex and highly regulated central banking systems, as well as those of participating financial services organizations. Again, a perfect example of yet another great domino effect that could happen with Mtech and what Mtech has been doing. I've talked to you guys about Mtech many times on this channel because I do believe that they are a crucial piece of the puzzle as well. They have been a very, very big leader around CBDCs, and also they've been working closely with Hedera for a very long time. And then last but not least, I do want to share with you guys this connection over here. Mind you, this is the GBBC, the Global Blockchain Business Council. Going back to September of 2021, Interwork Alliance merges with the Global Blockchain Business Council. If we scroll down here, okay, first off, as we look at the information behind the GBBC, there is 330 institutional members, 130 ambassadors from more than 70 jurisdictions and disciplines. And also, they are dedicated to furthering the adoption of blockchain through engaging regulators, business leaders, and global change makers on how to harness this groundbreaking technology to create a more secure, equitable, and functional societies. Now, why do I bring this up? Tokenization, right? Up here, we do see, as a founding member of the IWA, we are excited about the scale and resources that the GBBC brings to bear on the important mission of delivering open standards, protocols, and specifications for tokenized business services. We look forward to building on the work started with the seminal publication of the Voluntary Ecological Markets Overview white paper, leveraging GBBC's resources to further our community's work with the Hedera token service, the first native layer 1 implementation based on the IWA token taxonomy framework. Again, as we look at a lot of these connections, most people don't even realize that these are in place. Hedera has been networking and connecting with some of the biggest organizations out there. And also, when we look at some of the partnerships that they already have, I mean, these are massive leaders. These are huge giants. And I do believe that this is right on par with Hedera's goal to, power the future of finance. Again, it's not just going to be one player. A lot of people think it's just going to be XRP with Ripple. A lot of people think it's just going to be Stellar. No. This is going to be a global collaborative idea. When we look at some of these players like Hedera, Ripple, Stellar, I think that all of these are crucial players to the puzzle. And Hedera, they are becoming a leader. They are powering a large change happening around finance with some great partnerships that I've mentioned. This is also why I look at Hedera today and I'm just like, people can go ahead and sell their Hedera or their HBAR, if you will. You don't need to hold HBAR. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, hold HBAR forever. No. I see a lot of people losing patience around Hedera simply because the price of HBAR isn't skyrocketing to, their levels fast enough, right? I think that it's kind of comical. That's why I like looking at these connections. I like to go back in time and I look at some of the major innovations that are already happening within Hedera. I mean, there's a ton of money out there, right? I've talked to you guys about the derivatives market. It continues to gain a lot of value, $1.2 quadrillion today. Tokenization unlocking a ton of value around a lot of these markets as well. Hedera is changing the way, finance use cases and things like that are being built. And it's because of the technology behind Hedera and the doors that Hedera actually opens in terms of the efficiencies and the opportunities within the financial markets. So that's why I'm so bullish on what Hedera has been doing around the financial system and also the financial industry. So with that being said, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.